Hello, welcome to Hatha Yoga, and today's theme is going to be about happiness. So, different affirmations that you can repeat to yourself to help foster more happiness in your life or daily practice. And then remember, in Hatha, we don't really do vinyasas. We don't flow the same way that we do in strong flow vinyasa yoga. So, we're going to be doing a lot of step back types of transitions. Blocks can be helpful with that if you need it. Blocks can also be helpful for when we get to some low lunging, um, triangle pose, and to help with some of the balance poses that we're going to do, a warrior three and half moon. And then I've got a blanket here that I'm sitting on, but I'm also going to use this for a knee cushion when we come into low lunges in a moment. We'll be using a strap towards the end to help stretch and for an assistance in a bridge variation. So you are welcome to have that. Otherwise, let's get going. So just kind of move the flesh out of the way of the sits bone and having a nice tall sit, ears, shoulders, and hips in alignment. Let's take a slight tuck in the chin. And as we settle down in here, just take a few breaths. And notice as you begin to settle, is there anywhere that you could soften just a little bit more in the body? So could you soften around the eyes? Could you soften around the jaw, the shoulders, the hips? And then as you breathe, as you inhale through the nose, can you find some expansion of that rib cage? And slowly exhale through the mouth or the nose. Maybe inhaling some courage. For some of us, it can be courageous or it takes courage to do what you need to do to find your happiness. It can be scary. Now, I'm going to encourage you to bring in the Ujjayi pranayama here. That's the back of the throat constriction on the inhale and the exhale, or you can do one or the other. If that's not your jam, I just want you to breathe. But we're going to do just a few rounds of box breathing here, one of my favorites. But I'm going to encourage you to bring the Ujjayi pranayama in if you've got that. I can't count and do Ujjayi at the same time. So I'm going to address if that's what you're doing, then that is what you're doing. So let's take a big exhale to prepare. And let's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2. That. Hold that. Hold that. Hold that. Hold that. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Now exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Return to normal breath. Sorry about that little snafu there. There is breathing where you inhale and exhale for the same count that you don't have the retention in between. And my mind just kind of went to that for a moment. Good. Fingertips to the side, palms straight up. Inhale and reach, reach, reach. Exhale, hands to heart center. Now, I gave you the intention that we were going to be talking about happiness, but you can always create your own intention, whatever it is you need. Once you have that set, let's inhale and reach. Let's take a nice side bend over to the left. Reach, 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 reach. Moving through center, take it over to the right. Reach, 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 reach. And let's take that again to the left. This time, open to the back. And coming back center, moving through center, taking it to the other side and reach and open to the back. And come back center and move through center, arms up. Let's take a gentle twist. So rotating to the left, arms are going to come down, rolling shoulders back, looking a little bit more behind you. Breathe and expand. And inhale and lift. Exhale center, rotate other side, arms come down, rolling shoulders back, looking behind. Breathing and expanding. And when you're ready, we'll lift and come back to center. Get any little movement here that your body needs. And when you're ready, we're going to take this into cat-cow. Now, I've got some cranky knees here today, so I'm going to bring in my little blanket knee cushion. Remember, any blanket will work as a knee cushion. You can always use pillows, bath towels. You don't have to have a quote-unquote official yoga blanket. But spreading the fingers nice and wide, rooting through the knuckles of the pinky, pointer, and thumbs. My tops of the feet are down. My belly button is in. Good. And I'm going to just get a nice gentle cow pose here. So I'm just letting the chest come forward, tipping the pelvis back. And then I'm going to press that floor away and round, looking towards the thigh. Good. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And one more time. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Good. Now, come back to your nice flat spine here. We're going to go into a thread the needle. So from here, I'm going to start with my right arm coming out, and I'm going to thread it through behind the left. I want to try to keep my hips over my knees. And when I come down, notice how I'm barely touching the top of the head. My ear is not touching the floor at all. Good. So I'm using that left hand and left shoulder to help support me here. When you press the ear into the floor, you're getting a kink in the neck. Therefore, you won't have a long line from crown to tail. I also think when you press into that hand and that shoulder on your supporting side, you get a little bit of a deeper stretch here. So from here, pressing into that left hand and shoulder, coming back up. Good. Let's take one cat-cow just to reset. Good. And then let's take that thread the needle to the other side. So the left arm's going to come out. Good. I'm going to scoop that through. Hips are over the knees. Top of the head. My ear's not touching. It's okay to move this arm and hand out if you need that for support. Good. Long line from crown to tail. My belly button is in because I'm in rotation. Always twisting from length. And when you're ready, pressing through that right hand and shoulder coming up. Good. One cat-cow here, just a little reset. Good. And then let's take this into a child's pose. Taking the knees wide, maybe touching the toes together, maybe not. Knees can also be together here. You can reach your arms long in front of you, or hands can come long behind you. Now I'm pretty open in my knees and my hips. My hips kind of go all the way back to my ankles. Maybe yours not so much. So you just do what you can. And then our first little happiness affirmation here is I am becoming a magnet for joy. I am becoming a magnet for joy. Repeat that one to yourself. And then You just want a little bit of engagement here. So I'm zipping up my belly from the pubic bone behind the navel. I breathe and expand my rib cage here. And then once you're ready, good. Hands can come back under the shoulders. Know you can come to that pose at any point and rest as needed during this class. But from here, we're going to come into our downward facing dog. So if you're taller, you can take a half a hand width or full hand width forward. If you're shorter like me, you can stay where you are. So from here, I'm going to tuck my toes. I'm going to shift my hips back. I'm pressing in and forward into the mat. I'm still rooting through the knuckles of pinky, pointer, and thumb. So as I push in, I'm going to lift my knees. I'm going to lift my hips. And then I'm just going to check in for a moment. So as I'm pressing in and forward into the mat, I'm turning my elbows, the eyes of the elbows more forward. Good. Shoulders are away from the ears. Hips, knees, and toes are in relative alignment. Heels may or may not touch here. Don't force them if they're not ready. And then find something that feels good to you. Does it feel good to you to press through big toe and pinky toe mounds and lift the heels? Does it feel good to you to press through big toe and pinky toe mounds and walk your dog, bending one knee and lengthening the other leg? Does it feel good to you to bend the knees and lengthen? Does it feel good to you to be in stillness? Find what feels good. I'm going to walk the dog here. Try to keep your hips even if you're walking the dog. Try not to do this number. And then from here, finding stillness. From your downward facing dog, inhale, look forward, walk or step, maybe even jump your feet forward to meet your hands, depending on your level. Good. I'm going to use my blocks here for this first one. I'm going to lift and lengthen halfway. Nice long spine. You can also be on the floor, fingertips to the shins or the thighs. And then I'm going to lower down. So bend those knees as needed, especially if you've got a back issue or something like that. Helps take the pressure off. Good. Now, again, I'm going to press through the heels and the hips. I'm going to come back up. Nice long spine. And then I'm just going to bend my knees as I come down. Good. I'm going to root into the heels and the glutes. And then I'm going to press up, making my legs take the load as I come to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Now from here, let's just get a little bit of a fold here. Let's get some traction in the spine. So from here, big inhale, exhale with bent knees or long legs. You just kind of take that down. I'm just going to move my blocks out of the way here. And I'm just going to let my arms and everything just dangle here. Let's shake the head, yeah. Maybe shake it, no. Good. If you can, if it's comfortable and you want to, maybe grab opposite elbows. Breathe, big breaths. And then once you're ready, good. If you've got your elbows, we'll release. Good. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway, floor block, shins or thighs. Excuse me here for a moment. It's froggy throat season. And exhale, we'll bow. Inhale, root into the feet, engage the glutes. We'll rise up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Finding breath, mountain, and intention. Good. So next affirmation, I am open to being happier than ever before. I am open to being happier than ever before. So from here, we're going to step back into a low lunge. And some of you can do this from up high and then come down. Others need a little help. So if you need a little help getting down there, good. Just bend your knees. Remember, hands can come to your block. And then you can step one leg back. I'm stepping my right foot back here. I'm going to grab my cushion. Hold it this way. Yep, much better. Okay. So once I'm down here, good. If you can, and actually, let's just do this. Let's move forward and back here. Good. So what I'm trying to do is kind of loosen up the hip flexors a little bit. So then when you come into this low lunge, the hip is forward of this grounded knee versus directly over it. And I want my front heel to be grounded here as well. Maybe the knee can come over that ankle at some point. Good. So if you're coming here into this lunge and your foot's up here, or you're kind of here or doing something like that, take that foot more forward. You will be happier. Your body will be happier. Good. So left hip's going to come back, zipping up. Good. I'm just going to roll the shoulders back and I'm pressing into my blocks. You don't have to use blocks if you've got long arms. You can certainly come to the floor. Good. But I'm just waiting here, breathing here. Good. Now from here, you can stay down here if this is where you need to be. Otherwise, I'm going to take my hands to my thighs. My belly button stays in, and I'm going to take my arms up. Good. My right hand is going to grab the left wrist. I'm going to lift. I'm going to side bend towards my right. And we'll come back up. Good. And then from here, good. I'm just going to let myself open into just a gentle back bend, looking up. Breathe. We're trying for about 5 breaths here. If that's not where you are, then don't worry. You do what you can. And then we'll come up. Good. I'm going to take hands to the floor. You can take the right hand to a block or the floor if you would like. Good. Push away from the floor. Open towards the right. Look up there at that hand. Try to keep this left knee in line with the hip. Try not to let it fall out to the side. And then when you're ready, I'm going to take that back down. Good. I'm going to move my block more forward. I'm going to tuck my back toe, lift my back knee. I'm going to step that foot forward. Good. And then you can just kind of dangle here if that would feel good to you. Knowing where I'm going to go next, I'm just going to bring my knee cushion over to the other side. And then from here, inhale, lift and lengthen. Good. Exhale, we can fold. And from this fold, we're going to step the left leg back now. So I'm going to step that knee back. Get there the way that you need to get there for your body. Good. And let's just take this forward and back a few times here. So I'm really tighter on this side. Okay. And then when you're ready, good. Find your nice lunge. Rolling shoulders back, long spine. Good. The right hip's going to come back a little bit. Left hip will shift forward a little bit here. Taking your breaths. And then with staying on your block, we're coming up here. Good. Find a little balance challenge. And with this balance challenge, the left hand is going to grab the right wrist. Lift. You're going to get a side bend towards the right. Find ujjayi breath if you can. We'll come back up. Good. This time, take the hands forward, clasp the hands, press away and around that upper body. Good. Find that nice shoulder stretch. And then when you're ready, we'll release. Good. From here, I'm going to bring my blocks back in. I'm going to tuck my back toe, lift my back knee. I'm going to step that foot forward. Good. With or without your block, find a nice long spine. And then maybe with a little bend in the knees, just come to that nice fold. And then from here, when you're ready, good. Pressing through the heels, getting into the hips. Long spine. We're going to rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. Find your mountain pose. Find your intention. Intention of happiness or what you chose. Good. All right. So from here, we're going to do a little balance challenge before we do a standing step back. So we're just going to practice standing on one foot, which doesn't seem like it's hard, but it really is to a lot of people. So on the left side, that's going to be the side I'm going to stand on first. Hip, knee, and toe are going to track. Good. My belly button is in. And I'm going to lift a little bit here. If you're stable and non-wobbly here, if you're stable and non-wobbly here, you can use your abs and lift up higher. If you're wobbling around, keep it lower. So we don't want to go higher and make something more challenging if we're not stable at the foundations. So I'm just going to stay lower today. Good. And then I'm going to bring that foot down, shaking out that left leg. Good. Let's step back into a warrior two. A warrior two. Now, something of note, I'm just going to kind of pick this up to show you. When we step back to warrior two, your back, hip, knee, and toe turn out 45 degrees. You've heard me say in many classes, it's more important for that back edge of the foot to be grounded than for this front knee to be bent. So if that's not something you can do, you can create support by taking a folded blanket or a bath towel. And so then when you step back here, good, and you've got that angle, you've got your space is filled in with that blanket. So if that's something you need, just know that that is an option for you to have that connection. So knowing where we're going to go from here, let's step that right foot back, warrior press. Good. Fill in any space that you may have. Good. And then let's set up here for success. So your front hip is going to come back. It's going to be left. Good. So your hip should be at about a 45-ish degree angle. I'm going to leave my hips here as I open the chest to the side and reach my arms long. Good. So hip, knee, and toe are tracking forward. Good. Let's take 5 good breaths here. Good. So talked about I'm becoming a magnet for joy. I am open to being happier than ever before. What about, I don't know why my nose keeps itching. I'm fine with it. I give myself permission to be happy. I give myself permission to be happy. Some people don't feel worthy of happiness, but you are. And give yourself permission to be happy. Good. Now, with a bent front knee or a lengthened front leg, let's take that back into exalted warrior. Try not to shift the hips as you come back here. We're zipped up. We're taking those breaths. We're using Ujjayi when possible. Good. And then from here, I'm going to come back to my warrior two. I'm going to lift this front leg here. So we're going to prepare to take this now into a triangle. So if you need a shorter stance or a wider stance, you could. I'm going to encourage you, though, to stay as wide as you are in warrior two as your base to go into your triangle from here. And I might need a block. So I've got my block on the outside of my left foot. So I'm rooting my feet and legs into the mat. Good. My left hip is coming back. My right hip is coming forward. They will not be perfectly turned forward. And then I'm going to take my left arm forward, rooting into my mat with my feet. I'm going to lengthen, 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 lengthen. Good. Now, For some people, you can always put a hand on the chair here. You can take a thigh, shin. I'm going to take a block and then I'm going to open up. So you want long length here. It can also be up against a wall if your balance is not that great. A wall is a very, very helpful tool. So look up if you can at that hand. If something happened in transition, the left hip comes back, the right hip comes forward here. Yeah. Looking down at that front foot, we're going to put a bend in that front knee. Good. I'm going to bring in my other block here to help me with transition. You may not need one. And I'm going to swivel up my back foot. Now I'm in a high-low lunge, and I'm going to step that back foot forward. Good. And then I'm just going to let myself just fold here, and then pressing through the feet, coming all the way up. Good. We're going to take this into Warrior 3. Some of you will choose to stay there. Some of you will choose to move on to Half Moon. So blocks can be very helpful if you need a grounded Warrior 3 and for Half Moon. But what we're going to do here is your left leg's going to be your balancing leg again. So left hip, knee, and toe are going to track forward. Good. Now my hips are forward. So again, find that balance with your stability when you pick up this foot. Good. And then some of you have a beautiful Warrior 3 and don't need blocks, but I'm going to go over some examples here of what you can do. So some of you might need a grounded Warrior 3 today. So hip, knee, and toe track forward, okay? And I'm really pressing to the heel and I'm reaching my right leg back. For some of you, this grounded Warrior 3 is going to be the end of the road. Others are going to practice taking this into a Half Moon prep. So maybe you press into that left heel and open to the side and then come back down. Maybe that's how you work into your Half Moon. And then maybe some of you are going to take that into full Half Moon. So your left hand is on a block. It's going to be forward and to the left of the left foot, opening up. Good. Again, you can find this at the wall. For Half Moon, hip, knee, and toe are tracking to the side. For Warrior 3, they're pointed down towards the floor. Good. And breathe. And when you're ready, with the next breath, good. We're going to bring that down. That right foot's going to come up to meet the left. You can fold here for a moment if you need that. And when you're ready, good. We'll come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're going to take that all to the other side. So I'm just going to move my block over here. So then from here, remember, we're going to do the step back first into the Warrior 2. So if you need something under that foot, have that available. But from here, good now. Oh, you know what? We're going to do the balance challenge first. Pardon me. Good. So right leg, hip, knee, and toe track forward. Belly button is in. Good. And your hands, arms can be anywhere, but we're just going to pick up that left foot. So remember, if you're stable when you're lower, you can lift up higher. If you're all over the place when you're lower, we don't come higher. So we take it where we can take it. Breathing. And then we'll bring that foot down. Good. Shake out your right foot, your right leg. And then we're going to step back into that Warrior 2. So your left leg is going to step back. Good. Remember, we're at the 45-degree angle here. Support that heel if it needs it. Hip, knee, and toe, track forward here. Right hip comes back, left hip comes forward. Belly button is in, turning the chest to the side. And we reach our arms long. Good. Good. So if we give ourselves permission to be happy, Then happiness comes naturally when we let go of what no longer serves us. So happiness comes naturally when I let go of what no longer serves me. Repeat that to yourself. And then when you're ready with a bent front knee or a lengthened front leg, let's take that into exalted warrior, reaching up, looking up, trying not to shift the hips in transition. And when you're ready, good. Coming back to the warrior two, and we'll prepare for the triangle. So lengthening the front leg, try to stay at your warrior two base if you can, but if you need to make a change, make that change. Root your feet into the floor. Good. Front hip's gonna come back hip's gonna come forward. Good. I'm gonna lengthen and reach. When I can come no more, take a thigh, take a shin. You can take a block, maybe the floor. And I'll also say here, your block or hand on the inside of the foot is a little bit more challenging than if you have your hand on the block on the outside of the foot. So be mindful where you need to be. Think about stacking the shoulders, long spine. Remember, this is not a forward fold. Breathe. Stay with the breath. And then from here, looking down at that front foot, I'm going to put a bend in that front knee. I'm going to use my blocks for an assist, but again, you may not need that. Swivel up the back foot. Back foot's going to step forward to meet the front foot. Good. And just lift and lengthen. You can bend those knees on a fold. And then pressing through the feet, engaging the glutes. Let's rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Finding breath, your mountain pose, your intention. All right. Let's take this into balance. More balance. All right. So this time your right leg is going to be your supporting leg. Have those blocks handy here. We'll go through everything the same way we did before. So from here, belly button is in. Good. You can lift that leg as high or as low as you need it to be. Good. You'll take that down. Good. And again, if you're choosing the full warrior three and you don't need the block, no worries. Go ahead and go there. Otherwise, you can stay right here. My left hip and knee are pointed to the floor. If you're working on opening up for half moon, good. You can do that opening and then the close, the open, and then the close. And then those of you that want to go into the full half moon here, you can take your block forward into the right of the right foot. Good. You'll open up. Remember, hip, knee, and toe always track forward and find your half moon. Again, this is a lovely one to practice up against the wall. No shame. I was up against the wall for probably a couple years before I started getting brave to move away from the wall and working on that. So use your wall if you need to use the wall. No worries. Also with happiness, well-being is a top priority for me. Well-being is a top priority for me. When you're in a good state of well-being, whoop, here we go. I'm going to come out of this balance challenge here. Good. Then you are more than able to find happiness when you're in a better state of well-being. Good. So then from here, that back foot's going to come up to meet the front foot, and we'll come down. And then pressing up, coming all the way up, and taking hands down to heart center. So this practice has been full of imperfections. I messed up on the pranayama. I almost fell out of a couple balance challenges. That's okay. It happens to teachers too. We're human. So don't, a big crusher of happiness is trying to be perfect all of the time. So don't try to be perfect, and happiness will be easier for you. All right, let's take this down to the floor. So however you want to get to the floor, you can come to the floor. And I'm just going to bring my blanket back in here again to sit on. Good. And let's come to a wide-legged forward fold. So I'm going to take my legs out to the side here. Good. And what I just did was a little adjustment with the pelvis. So I made my pelvis come into an anterior tilt. So to kind of give you a little bit of a side view here, I made my tailbone go that way and my hip bones to go this way. That helps me sit up a little bit taller and make this fold just a little bit easier. So from here, again, now we're going to be here for 5 breaths. So careful that you're not at your widest possible. Let your body have a little bit of space. And then from here, big inhale and reach. Exhale, long spine from the hips. We're going to reach forward. Good. And then the hands can come down when you can no longer take a long spine. You can grab the shins or yogi toe or yogi foot if you've got those. But breathe here. Finding Ujjayi again as best as you can. What about, I'm trading my worry for faith. I'm trading my worry for faith. So it's hard to find happiness if we're running around worried about things all of the time. And you're going to worry about things from time to time. It's when it's all the time, it's when it becomes a happiness crusher. And don't be afraid to seek and ask for help if you need it. And then from here, once you're ready, we're going to walk those hands back in. Good. And then from here, I'm going to take my peace fingers behind my knees. I'm going to bring my soles of the feet together here for cobbler's pose. Now, if you're really tight in the hips, then you'll know that because your knees are going to want to jack up here like this. You can take pillows, folded blankets, and put underneath the knees for support. We've got a couple blocks. I prefer them to be at an angle here because if you're doing it this way, that's kind of uncomfortable. So if you're at an angle and you've got a smooth surface for everything to relax on, and it is a lot more relaxing. So find what you need there. Otherwise, good. I'm going to hold on to my shins because I've got short arms. You can also hold on to the feet. Zipping up nice and tall. Big inhale, exhale, long spine, hinge forward. And then I'm just going to take a few breaths here before I give you an opportunity to move on. So this can be where you stay. This might be where you can, the only place you can go. There are some of you out there that can do a nice little C curve, touching forehead to the toes. If that's not where you are today, but you're seeking that connection, you have some options. So folded blankets, pillows, you can stack them. You can take a block here. You can take blocks here. It just kind of depends on how much space you need to fill in. You can have a block here. Those of you that need a long spine, no C curving at all, this is a great one to do because this allows you to keep a nice long spine, but still get that connection. So find what you need here. Keeping shoulders away from the ears if possible. Come back to that happiness, and then I'm going to let you kind of choose this next thought. It's not really an affirmation, but a question. What would make you happy in this moment? And think about that thing and let it put a smile on your face. And when we're ready, we're going to come up from there. All right. We're going to do a really quick seated twist here. So you can actually twist in cobbler's pose legs if you want. That's what I'm going to choose. You can crisscross applesauce if that would feel better for you. So just kind of find a seat that feels good to you. And then with a nice long spine, we're going to start twisting to the left. So my left hand's going to come back. Right hand's going to come to the right or to the left side, rolling and looking. Breathing and expanding. We'll come back to center. We'll take that to the other side. So right hand's going to come back, left hand's going to come to the right, long spine, and twist to the right. And then we'll release and come back to center. We're going to come belly down now. We're going to do some cobra work, some belly down cobra work. So I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. Now, some people also feel better on their pelvis if they're lying on a blanket. So if you need that support, go ahead and take care of yourself. But I'm going to come belly down here. My legs are about hip width apart. I'm just going to let my hips wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then from that cobra, if you use hands under the shoulders as a starting point, I'm going to walk my hands a little bit forward here. I want my elbows to be down, rolling shoulders back, belly button is in. And when you're ready, I'm going to press into the hands as I look forward and lift. So for some of you, a little bit here might be all that you can do, and that's great, baby cobra. There might be some of you that could come up a little higher, medium cobra, shoulders are down, no crunching in the spine. And then there's others that can come up into a high cobra. Again, shoulders down, no crunching in the spine. And then let's lower that down. We're going to do one more. We'll do this one as our 5-breath hold. So rolling shoulders back, belly button is in. Find your cobra, baby, medium, or high. 5 breaths. Good. And then when you're ready, just carefully come out of there. Wiggle, wiggle those hips. Hands under the shoulders. Press back into a child's pose. You can keep a long spine here if that's what you need, or you can make it rounding into a little bit more flexion if that's what you need. And then once you're ready, we're going to come onto our backs for supine work. Supine work. And as you're coming down here, you will want to grab your strap. And then I'll give you our next little affirmation. I can always find new opportunities to enjoy. I can always find new opportunities to enjoy. Good. So since we're here, while you're kind of getting the strap ready, just kind of let the knees go side to side. Belly button is in nice and tight. And then we're going to go into a ankle bind bridge. Now, there might be some of you that can reach your ankles and you don't need the strap. That's amazing. I am not able to do that without a strap. So we're going to take this strap and we're going to put this strap down around the ankles here. And your heels, we're going to come in towards the glutes as close as you can get them. Hips, knees, and toes are still tracking hip width apart. Now I'm just going to roll my shoulders back a little bit. I'm choking up on my strap with both hands as much as I can. Good. Now from here, big inhale, exhale. I'm going to press my feet into the floor. I'm going to tug on my strap and lift my hips up. Good. And you can roll the shoulders under more as needed. So for those of us that are not able to bind at the ankles, we're using the strap. This is what ankle bind bridge feels like. I love using the strap as a tool. Helps me be able to do things or feel things that I wouldn't be able to otherwise. I would never know what this bridge would feel like without a strap because I cannot reach my hands to my ankles. And once you're ready, lower the bottom down first. And then you can release your strap. Good. You can release the legs, maybe shake out one and then shake out the other. And we're going to take the left foot into the strap, left foot into the strap. And we're just going to do a gentle stretch here. So we've already gotten into the hamstrings. We've already, taken a wide leg forward fold. So we've gotten into the inner thigh. So we're going to get to the outside here. So my right leg's going to come long. I'm holding both pieces of the strap with my right hand. And I'm going to let that leg cross over the body about 45-ish degrees. And you can kind of wiggle around here to find what you need. And then move that foot around a little bit if you want to. Maybe finding an extra spot. Breathe here for a few breaths. Now you decide to stay here, or you can take that leg over, coming into a full spinal twist, keeping leg in line with the hip. So if you can't keep it there on your own, put a block or some other folded blanket or prop under there to support you. Looking to the side. How about going back to happiness? My relationships are a source of fulfillment and delight. My relationships are a source of fulfillment and delight. Happiness is hard when we don't have good relationships around. And when you're ready, we'll come back up. Good. We're going to do a midair switcheroo here. Good. So now both straps are going to come into the right hand. The left leg can come long. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, good. Find that little 45-ish degrees. You might have to wiggle around to find it, but just kind of be there for a few breaths. I owe it to myself to find out what makes me happy. I owe it to myself to find out what makes me happy. Sometimes that too can take courage if we know what that is, but we're afraid to take that step. Getting out of a bad relationship, for example. Making changes that we know are better, but we're afraid. And then from here, if you want to take this into the full twist, you can. Good. Keep the leg in line with the hip. Maybe looking in the opposite direction. And we'll come back up. Good. Remove that foot from the strap. Good. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock side to side. We're going into our Shavasana. So you can bring in any props or anything that you have. I'm going to bring my folded blanket back in as a knee pillow, not a knee pillow, a neck pillow. But you can always put a folded blanket under your knees. That feels nice too. Good. And then once you found or find where you're going, you can let everything come long and flop open. You can put a bend in the knees. You can be on your side, you can be on your belly, be where you can be comfortable for a few moments. And the last affirmation of unhappiness I will give you is I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve happiness. Repeat that one to yourself because that is a true statement. And taking some deep breaths, choosing some stillness, or maybe taking head and neck from side to side, inviting movement of fingers and toes. Choosing stillness, or taking knees into the chest. Choosing to keep the upper body grounded or maybe tucking the chin and lifting up, full body hug. And choosing stillness or moving any props out of the way if you use any for Shavasana. Taking legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips to the edge of the toes. Full body stretch, point and flex the feet, bend and stretch through the hands. Rolling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then you choose bending both knees and rolling over to your right or left side, the side that works best for your body in this moment. Taking all the time that you need here. And when you're ready, pressing yourself up to that comfortable seat where we started our practice. So I'm going to bring my folded blanket back in here. Noticing how you feel, hopefully a little bit more at ease, a little bit looser, a little bit happier. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up, inhale and reach. Exhale, touching those thumbs at the forehead for good and true thoughts, to the lips for good and kind words, and to the heart for open and loving heart. Knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe, may you stay well, may you focus on well-being as a top priority for you, and happiness will find you. Namaste.